Guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Patrick Lorienti. I have been a licensed realtor here in Colorado for the past 10 years. And today we are doing a real estate market update for Denver Metro. And we do these every single Wednesday. So if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe because I don't know of another channel that does things like us. Ultimately, guys, I do these updates live. One, so that I'm staying up to date with the market, but two, I'm giving you guys this information in ways that you can not only understand, but use it to your advantage when you go to sell and buy. So not only are we going to break down the market, but we're going to tell you sellers, we're going to tell you buyers what we're seeing and how that impacts you and how you can take that and actually strategically use it in the sell or buy side of a new home. So with that, be sure to subscribe, like the video, and comment down below. We do answer questions on this live. And as you can see on the screen, if you guys have questions, you're actually in the market of selling or buying, you've got my number down below. Feel free to reach out. I am the one fielding those calls, those texts, etc., and would love nothing more to talk with you guys. Now, without further ado, we're going to change things up just a little bit today, and we're going to go in stats. Usually I read a market article and give you some thoughts behind it, but we're going to kind of go with the raw stats, and I'm going to quickly, in a simple way, show you exactly what you need to know about today's market. So if we go over here, and let me sure, yeah, that's showing you. I just need to make sure the screen is showing you what I want it to. Yep. Okay. So we're on the stats. So guys, I'm going to run through this. And then by the end of the video, I'm actually going to show you some cool things that you can do on your own to ensure that you guys have the market data available to you and you can decipher what's actually going on if you're the type of person that wants to do your own research. So stats, let's go through it. So average sales price per week, you could see this, let me zoom in for you guys here. You can see this little like tannish, brownish line. This is 2025. We got a peak of home values last week, but if you weren't on my video, then you don't know. That was largely contributed to luxury homes 2.5 plus having sold. And so the reality is this doesn't always tell the truth. And that's why you got to be on videos like this so you can know exactly what's happening. But we saw a peak because those luxury properties. And of course, as expected, we saw that come down this previous week. And so we're kind of pacing pricing, at least on this graph of 2022 and 2020. Here, let's see. 2022, 23 is right here, and then 24 is right there. But the reality, guys, is pricing is actually much lower. This isn't doing a great job of showing showing the actual data. This does a little bit better. So you can see median price. It's kind of struggling to break out here in the year 2025. And the reason for that is inventory, which we'll get into here shortly in some other charts. New listing count. Fortunately for the market, we saw a big decline in new listings. Again, why I say that's fortunate is because we don't want too much inventory because that's going to create a big negative price curve. And so this is really good for us to see is the new listings coming to the market was significantly lower last week than it was previous weeks, and that's suppressing inventory. Unfortunately, the likelihood of that continuing is not high. My guess as to why we saw that decline is because it was Memorial Day weekend, and that typically happens during holidays. But what's interesting is we saw under contract, the amount of under contract homes spike last week, even though it was a Memorial Day. So sellers said, I'm not listing. Buyers said, hey, let's take advantage of this. And buyers went out shopping last week. Now, sold count by week, like we're lower than we were in 24, 23, and 22. As of last week, we've been pacing decently well, especially with 2023, 24. I'd like to see that break out a little bit, but it's just not. And that's telling us that buyer demand, while it is strong, and we'll show you that when we get to showings, is just it's not as great as we'd like it, and it's definitely not pacing inventory. Listing contract days on market. Sellers, this is what you're feeling right here. If you're selling a home or going to be selling a home, just know listing days on contract, meaning when you put a sign in the yard to when it goes under contract, this little gap right here and why it's higher than all these, it's saying days on market is higher than it has been in the past 5 years consistently this year. Every single week, it has not broke these lines right here. It has not fallen below that. We've experienced the highest days on market this year, more this year than we have in the past 5 years. So it just is what it is, guys. Expect that if you're listing a home, it's gonna take longer to sell. Going down here, concessions by week, this is showing that as a seller, it's likely you are paying a portion of the buyer's closing cost or a rate buy down, and that's what we call concessions. As you can see, it's been higher than all these previous years. Now, why is that? Why are we seeing the trends in higher concessions? We're seeing longer days on market. What's going on? Well, I'll tell you guys what's going on is inventory. You'll see very quickly here is so much higher than it's been in previous years. Like 2024, guys, this is where we saw a breakout in inventory, meaning inventory was way over buyer demands. And we're even higher than that, at least trending to be. If this trend continues, we could see anywhere from about 16 to 18,000 listings. And if that's the case, guys, you can bet that we're going to see a negative price curve. And in fact, I believe from my perspective, being in the active market, we're already seeing that. And I'm going to show you actual examples with listings showing price drops week after week. And so I'll show you, like, I'll make sense of this graph, but by actually showing you homes. So stay tuned. We'll get to that in a second. The last piece of this, what's interesting is that what we've seen weekly showings by year, this is an indication of buyer demand. So how do we track how many buyers are in the market? Well, we just look at showings, how many showings are being had. And as you guys can see, like we're this little tan line right here, we're just pacing under 2021 where rates were like 3%, but we're over any of these last 5 years. And so we're having really, really strong showing activity. But unfortunately, because there's so much inventory, you can see we're at the lowest amount of showings per listing per week. And so, guys, all this said is we've got a slower market. It's not great for sellers. I don't think it's going to get much better. And for buyers, you have more leverage than you have in the past 5 to 10 years. Really, really good time to buy from that perspective. But the reality is interest rates are high. And so there is a kind of pro and con where even though there's a lot of leverage and it's a great market for buyers, you are going to have to fight against some of that affordability. And so it's really, really important you get with an excellent lending and real estate team. So that way they can get creative, show you different options, and help you maximize your dollar and get into a home you love. Okay. So I have amazing partners. You've got my number down below. Feel free to reach out. And now let's get into the segment where I show you guys how to do some of your own research. And we're going to start by going to homes.com. I did a comparison of homes.com versus Zillow, and I kind of like this a little better for you guys. So the reason being is more specifically because on Zillow, you don't really have the ability to deselect coming soon or for sale, which I want you to be able to. So I'll explain that here in a second. But what we're going to do is just pick a city. Okay. You guys can pick Thornton, Brighton, Broomfield, Todd Creek. We can also go to Littleton and Highlands Ranch and go South Denver Metro. We'll go to Littleton Co. Now, when we go to Littleton Co., what we're going to do is you can see for sale homes. You can do price. I'm not going to go over the Captain Obvious stuff here. But what you would be doing this for is likely you're buying a home in an area and you want to do some research on the pricing for that home. Into, like, for instance, let's say you stumble upon this. It's 1.45. You look at it, you fall in love, amazing pictures, but you wonder, hey, is this actually like well priced? Is it overpriced? Is it underpriced? How do we know? Well, I will tell you first and foremost, like, by all means, do your own research. But if you have a high-level real estate professional on your team, just ask them. Number one, I'm going to be able to do this I'm going to be able to do this in research much quicker than you. My research is going to be much more sound, not to knock on you, but I do this for a living, guys. And I have insight in the market that as I'm doing the research, I'm weighing that against the insights of the market, having doing these Wednesday lives, etc., to where I'm able to decipher it better. I should say better, quicker, and more accurately. But let's say you still want to do your own research. So what you're going to do is actually, we're going to go back. We're going to stay in Littleton, and let's find, we're going to go with this house right here. This is a multifamily. This is a triplex. Psych. We're not going there. I want to give you guys a little bit better. Okay. So here we go. We've got this one at 800,000. And so what you're going to do is kind of zoom into this neighborhood. Okay. You could click layers over here and you can go neighborhoods. And that's going to give you what neighborhood this falls in. Okay. So this is in the Heritage neighborhood or area. Now these lines aren't always accurate, but just go with it. Okay. So this is really important because it gives you a distinction that this neighborhood is different than Heritage. And so even though, if we go here, even though this house is closer to this one at 650 than it is up here, like it might be less accurate in terms of pricing. Okay. So you want to do the layers, get a sense of the neighborhood. Hopefully, you know the area better than most, because the reality is, even though these are different neighborhoods, I might have insight that says, yes, they're different neighborhoods, but reality is this Windermere to Broadway here is more accurately this going to be this specific neighborhood than Windermere to Prince's. They're going to be different neighborhoods, even though it's showing different. So nonetheless, get a high-level professional. We'll be able to do the deciphering for you. But for you to do your own research, you can come in here. You got this $800,000 house. Now, you can see all the active homes here. And so what I would do first and foremost is go look at some of these pictures, right? And go get an idea of, like, obviously this is probably not comparable. It's 2.3 million instead of 800, but look across the street. Let's just see, okay, this one's at $1 million. Go look at the pictures, get a feel and understanding for, okay, this one's at $1 million, right? And we'll just do it right here. I'll click into some of the pictures if it loads. And you could just very quickly look at the square feet down here, beds, baths. You can see the updates. You can see the finishes. You can see the backyard. And then from there, you go, okay, that's $1 million. Well, what's different between that and our $800,000 house here? Because that's a $200,000 difference. It's fairly big. And guys, the reality is, like, look at this. This thing's gorgeous. Like the one at 800, it's gorgeous. It has 5 bedrooms, 3 baths. I think a little less square feet, but close. This, from my perspective, just in the last 2 minutes, that's a much better value. Absolute amazing home. And you are like right next to each other, essentially. This one is slightly bigger on square foot, might have a little bit more open floor plan here in the middle. You can see some high-end finishes, but reality, guys, $200,000 difference. I mean, come on. That's like, just from that little research, that's kind of crazy. Now, let's go into a little bit more depth here, okay? What I want you to do next is come here and unclick coming soon, unclick for sale, and just go under contract and pending. Because now we're going to get a sense and understanding of, okay, what homes actually went under contract or pending. Here's this one at 875. Let's look at this. Much bigger square feet, 3,500 square feet. And I mean, this one's quite nice as well. Like, this is updated. You've got a finished basement, not as big of a yard, is definitely a different type of architecture. Okay. So that plays into it, but it's 3,500 square feet. Are you kidding me? Right? Now, I mean, this is a personal preference. I don't love some of the marketing here. Like, this kitchen is amazing. It's gorgeous. Look at the hood. You got the gas stove. You've got this really cool cutting board in the counters. Are you serious? Gorgeous. But this picture doesn't do any justice to how great this kitchen actually is. I can just decipher it because, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys look at it and say, yeah, that's gorgeous. So you look at this and say, okay, that's $875. It's bigger, but I like the other updates of the one at 800. It's a little bit more modern, a little bit more sleek. And so this is what I want you guys to do as you're doing your research is, again, come in here. These are homes that are actually under contract or pending. And that way you guys can get a sense of what other homes are going for and what they're offering. And then from there, you're going to narrow into whether or not this 800 price or this 1 million price is accurate, too high, or too low. And then last but not least, the bread and butter here is go to sold right here. You want to click on the house, right? And go see 179 homes. And then again, you can do the layers. You can go into the neighborhood if you like to. I'm really good at just like visually, I got the horseshoe park, so I'm able to kind of stay within the boundaries. But now you can go and look at sold homes. Okay. These are homes that have actually sold. This is going to be the best indication of what the market is actually paying for these homes. And from here, I mean, guys, look at this. Stunning, right? You got the waterfall quartz countertops. You've got the accent wall with the slats. This is absolutely stunning. Now, I'm going to wrap this all up and bring it to a point where you're going to say, oh, this makes sense. But gorgeous. Finished basement. You've got a great garage. Amazing backyard. Come on. This is gorgeous, right? 2,400 square feet. Remember that. 4 bed, 3 bath, 0.27 lot. Okay. So if you were looking at that $1 million home, okay, let's go back here. So that one we just looked at, more square foot, had 4 baths, had more beds, similar baths. However, this is on a 0.5 lot, 0.5 acre lot. So the lot's a bit bigger. So that's where they're trying to justify and get this higher price for this home. But from my perspective, to be quite frank, look, gorgeous home. We can't argue that. Look at this bathroom. Are you serious? Absolutely stunning. Finished basement. They're saying, hey, it's got the 0.5 lot. But what I'm seeing here is most of this is unusable, right? Oh, and you back to this walking path. Gorgeous. So this should be priced higher, right? Because of this lot. But you're talking that one sold for $820. I'm still getting a big lot. Like it was 0.27, but I'm paying $180,000 more. Like, see what I'm saying? Then we can back into, hey, is this house priced accurately, too high or too low? And then from there, when you go into a conversation with your agent, you can at least have a good foundational understanding of what's going on in the area. And if you're sensing that your agent's talking about the values way inaccurately, it's not to challenge them, but you can just say, hey, look, here's something I saw. I saw that one that was sold on Davies Way and it was $820. Look at the pictures. And this one's $1 million. Like, what do you think, realtor? Like, I don't know. I kind of think that the one at $1 million, we might have some room to go down and some reason as to why, right? And so, guys, that is how, oh gosh, sorry. Let me just pause here. Check out this beautiful home. I love this type of architecture. Gorgeous, stunning. Come on. Ah, beautiful. They kept the wallpaper or did the wallpaper. I don't know how much I love the wallpaper, but it adds character. Super, super cute. Oh, they got wallpaper here too? Okay, so they're really going in on the charm and character. Look at this skylight in the living room. Gorgeous. Yeah, I like this one. Sorry, we're taking a detour here. It caught my eye. I wanted to show you guys. It's fun looking at these things. Okay, this one's virtually staged, right? All of a sudden they just plop in a couch, etc. Kind of cool. Gives you a sense and idea of the space. They've got the bar. I wish they would have done tile right here, right for the bar, but that's all good. Take off the socks, be comfy. Cute backyard, not as big as some of the ones we've been looking at, but gosh, that one's stunning. And that's a million. 1.1, excuse me. Okay. This is actually a great one because that was 1.1. And we might look and say, okay, like how is that 1.1? Like I get it's cute, it's got a lot of character. But like we saw the other ones, and I would argue and say the other ones a little bit more updated, a little bit more modern, a little bit more new. They had 4-bed, 4-bath, but this one has 3,000 square feet. And let's see if we can find the lot size on this one. And then we'll bring this home, guys. If you have any questions, throw them down in the comments. I would love to answer them for you. I'm not seeing the lot size on this one for whatever reason. But that's okay. Gosh, no, it's not. Where is it at? Let's find this lot size, guys. Huh. It's not showing. You know what? Let me try one thing for you guys. But nonetheless, the one thing that I wanted to point out, this one's 1.1. Obviously bigger square foot. The lot size is nowhere near the other ones. But this could be a reason. The reason could be, again, even though it says the Heritage neighborhood, this side of Windermere might be different than the other side of Windermere or a Lottie, right? And so that's something where your agent is going to come into play and be able to decipher for you and say, yes, I get these ones are at this price. And I know the character and charm of this one isn't going to justify $200,000 over those, but it's the neighborhood. If you look at the neighborhood, it's Briarwood, and this is why these homes are pricing higher. So that is it for today, guys. And on this banger of a home, oh my, like, come on. Absolutely stunning. With that, guys, thank you for joining the live. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you guys have any questions, throw them in the comments. I'll get to them after the live if you're catching on replay. And guys, as much as I love doing these videos, love giving you information, education, insights so that you can buy and sell smart here in Colorado, I love nothing more than actually to serve you guys. So feel free to reach out to the number below, subscribe to the channel, and I can't wait to talk with you guys. Cheers.